Hello everyone, welcome to Cinema Magic. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe button as we recap the 2023 Philippine horror film titled Kampon, directed by King Palasok. Let's jump into the movie.
The movie begins with a girl named Loretta and her brother Alan. Loretta was struggling with something, and Alan took her to an old woman's place. Her name was Na Almira. Na Almira makes Loretta lie on the bed and starts reciting mantras, and soon it becomes clear that Loretta is under the control of some demonic power. Soon, Loretta starts vomiting black blood, and she dies. Loretta's brother starts crying and asks Na Almira what happened, but then Na Almira says there may be another way to save Loretta. Na Almira goes to perform a new ritual, in the middle of which the lights start flickering. Now, Loretta suddenly starts moving, and her body starts flying in the air. Loretta's brother and Na Almira lose their senses, but then Loretta lies down comfortably on the bed, and there is a demonic mark on her stomach. After that, we meet Eileen and her husband, Clark. The Bapps were between their relatives, and after the Bapps, the child's parents were talking to Eileen and Clark. But we come to know from their conversation that Eileen and Clark have been married for many years, but they have not had a child yet, and the reason for this is that Clark cannot have children. This was still a secret, and no one else knew about it. Now it is night, and we can clearly see the tension between the husband and wife because Eileen loves children very much. That night, Clark checked the house's security footage because he was tense on the bed. The next day, Eileen goes to meet her sick father, and today, her sick father wakes up and tells Eileen that he does not need her because of friends. There was tension between Eileen and her father because Eileen was not able to have a child, and her father wanted to see his grandson before dying, but now he has died. This information and his passing shock Eileen. Clark takes care of Eileen in the hospital, and then they both go to the church, where Eileen accidentally comments on her desire to have a child, which makes both of them feel bad. The scene moves to Eileen's father's funeral, where Eileen vomits due to morning sickness, but she does not pay any attention to it. A few days after the funeral, Eileen goes to a girl named Julia's birthday party, and that girl is very bad. She screams a lot and makes noise about useless things. Julia's mother, when she comes and talks to her about children, both were talking, but an unknown man was staring at Eileen from outside. The scene goes to the night when Clark was at his job, inspecting containers, etc., at a port. And that night, Clark and some of his friends heard some noise from inside a container. They opened the container and went inside. They kept guns with them, but that container was mostly empty. There was a cage at the end of the container, inside which there was some living thing. Whatever it was growling, and its face was very demonic. That demonic thing screams, and then Clark wakes up, meaning it was just a dream. Clark sees his wife is not on the bed because Eileen stands sad on the balcony. He talks to her, and all of Eileen's sadness is because of the child. They get intimate again to keep his wife happy while it starts raining outside. Both of them are sleeping at night, but half of the night, the bell rings. Eileen wakes up Clark, and they both go to check. Clark sees in the CCTV that there is no one outside, so he takes the gun and goes to the door. But as he opens the door, a wet little girl is standing in front. The girl had a slip of paper in her hand with her name written on it, and her name was Jade. As soon as Eileen sees the girl, she calls her in, while Clark doesn't like this idea. Eileen cleans her up and also gives her bread to eat. Then, both of them ask Jade who she is, where has she come from, and how did she get here. Jade finally says that he was looking for Clark. Jade also knew Clark's full name, and Jet said that her mother was no longer there, and that her mother had asked Jet to find Clark because Clark was Jade's father. On hearing this, both Clark and Eileen are shocked. Clark takes Eileen with him and talks to her. They both know Clark cannot have children, so who is Jade after all? Eileen felt that maybe Jade was Clark's lost daughter, but for now, Eileen does not make a fuss about it, and she listens to her husband. Clark says they should throw Jet out of the house, but Eileen refuses to do it. The next day, Clark and Eileen take Jade to the police, and the police take some photographs from Jade's bag. Now, in the photo was Loretta, whom Jade calls her mother. In one photo was Na Almira, whom Jade calls her grandmother, and from this, it was clear that Jade is related to the people we saw at the beginning of the movie. She takes Jade for lunch, But on the way, Jade disappears. Clark tells the policeman that she cannot have children, so it is not possible that Jade is her daughter. However, Jade said Clark was her father, so the policeman had to do a DNA test. On the other hand, Jade wanders here and there in the jail, and after a while, upon seeing Jade, she reaches a prisoner, and that prisoner tries to scare her in a demonic way. The prisoner starts crawling towards Jade, but then Jade says that on March 22nd, one of your enemies will kill you. Due to this, the prisoner runs away from there out of fear, and then Eileen arrives there, searching for Jade. Here, Jade calls Eileen Mummy, which makes Eileen very happy. After this, Jade's DNA sample is taken, and Eileen says that she will stay with you until Jade's DNA test results do not come back. Both the policeman and Clark do not agree to this, but Eileen is adamant about her stubbornness, due to which we understand that motherly love has awakened in Eileen's heart, and somewhere Eileen was wishing that Jade turned out to be Clark's daughter so that she could stay with them forever. On the way, Clark explains that they should not take them home, which makes Eileen angry, thinking that maybe Clark is hiding something, like a secret affair. Clark sees the same man in the car we had seen earlier, meaning something is wrong. The night comes, and Eileen makes it clear that a fight between Clark and Eileen is certain if the DNA test comes back positive. After this, Clark goes upstairs and starts hearing a demonic whisper. Clark reaches Jade's room following the sound of demonic whispers, but Jade sleeps comfortably inside. As soon as Clark leaves from there, Jade wakes inside the room and starts uttering whispers again. Whatever Jade was saying, the same mantra was being chanted by some demonic people in the forest near the dead body of Loretta, which means Loretta is dead, and we see her head chopped off as well. The next day, Clark was looking at some old photographs, in some of which Loretta was also there, and Clark remembered a night when he and Loretta got intimate. But even though all this had happened, Clark did not believe it. Clark thought Jade was not his daughter because she could not have children. Then Clark sees a woman on the roof of another building staring at him, but she disappears the very next moment. Eileen talks to Jet and asks why her mother sent her to Clark, to which Jade replies that she has come here to find a new house for her mother, which confuses Eileen a bit. That night, Jade comes to Eileen and Clark. She crawls demonically on top of Eileen and starts whispering the demonic mantra because of the mantra. Clark also wakes up and is shocked as he sees Jade's place. A demonic power appears. Clark takes out the gun, but Eileen wakes up. Eileen calms Clark down and takes care of Jade. But that night, Jade sleeps with Eileen, and Clark leaves from there. The next day, Clark finds Jade's words very strange, but then he gets a message from the police because of DNA. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this movie so far, hit that subscribe button to catch all our future movie summaries. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. The results were out, but Clark Eileen did not know about them. Now that day, Eileen goes to the house of a woman named Ron to gossip, who was the mother of the naughty girl Julia. Both of them were talking, and Julia was making a video of herself dancing on the terrace. When Jade comes to the terrace and stands on the balcony, she starts staring at Julia evilly, after which she falls down from the balcony. Julia goes and tells her mother and Eileen that Jade is dead, due to which both of them get scared. They immediately checked, but Jade was comfortably playing in the yard. In the same yard, Jade finds a dead bird, and Jade recites a mantra that brings the bird back to life. Jade shows the bird to Julia, but then Jade crushes the bird in front of Julia. The scene goes to the container where Clark and his friends fight with the demonic entity. That entity was so powerful that it killed all of Clark's friends. But in the end, before that entity could kill Clark, Clark's one man shot him down. It was a dream. Now we see Clark, who meets the policeman, and the DNA test comes out positive. Here, Clark has to tell the truth to the policeman. Actually, friends, Loretta was a waitress at a private party to which Clark had gone, and that night they were intimate in 2015. Clark got married in 2016. He would be capable of having children, and he might have had physical problems after marriage. The policeman also says that if Eileen likes Zed, then Clark should tell the truth to Eileen and keep the child to himself. But then Clark sees that demonic man. But this time, Clark goes and catches that man and starts making a mash of him. He severely beats him, but is ultimately frightened upon seeing the man's demonic face. The police had to arrest Clark there, but now he was afraid. Clark is put in jail, but Clark says that for many days. Since then, strange people have been stalking her, and Clark believes that maybe this is a cult, and Jade is a member of that cult, but the police thought it was all nonsense. Clark was locked up in the same jail where that strange prisoner was. Late at night, a prisoner comes and tells Clark that your daughter, Jade, is possessed, so tell her to go to jail because she says strange things, and this increases Clark's suspicion even more. The same Eileen sees something demonic today. She sees Jade, who is trying to touch the ceiling, but then suddenly Jade starts flying, which shocked Iron. Well, then Eileen wakes up, meaning it was just a dream. But now, Eileen hears her father's voice from downstairs. Eileen checks and sees her father, who was playing with Jet. Eileen's father now consoles Eileen by explaining that Jade is not his daughter. And now Eileen starts seeing the demonic forms of all her relatives, and they too were just saying that Jade is not her daughter. Seeing all this, Eileen starts crying, and Jade becomes happy. Then, suddenly, a lot of wounds appear on Eileen's stomach, and she can see them. There is a baby inside her womb. But then Eileen wakes up, which means this was also just a dream. After waking up, Clark shows Eileen the DNA test, which breaks Eileen's heart, because, in reality, friends Eileen and Clark got married in 2014, and Clark had just lied to the policeman. Eileen comes to know about her husband's affair. So from here on, Eileen stops talking to Clark, and she does not even accept his apology. At least, it is known that Jade is Clark's daughter. Eileen goes to Jade, and today, she looks at her as her daughter. She is with him. She also cries on the bed, but Jade considers Eileen her mother and digests her tears, bringing out the complete love between mother and daughter. Their bond becomes extremely strong, and Eileen has stopped talking to Clark. One day, Clark again apologizes to Amy over dinner, but Eileen ignores him. Clark starts leaving from there, but then he sees that his wife's head has turned upside down, and the head falls on the ground, due to which Clark loses his senses. But even after everything becomes normal, Eileen does not take care of Clark. Now, either she is really very angry, has become very angry, or has also come under the control of some demonic power. The policeman immediately calls and tells Clark, and friends, actually, all the people who were in the Jeep were killed because the Jeep fell into the ditch. Clark comes to know that Loretta, Jade, and Loretta's brother were also in the Jeep, but the bodies of those three have not been found yet, due to which Clark loses his senses, and we can now see Jet hanging upside down on the roof. The phone gets cut, and Clark sees 3 demonic people around his house, and he immediately takes a gun. Now Clark was roaming around the house to kill those demonic people, and Jade was smiling after seeing all this on the CCTV. After that accident, Demon created his own army using Jade. And now that Demon needed a new body for himself to get that body, Jade came to Clark's family. Now, in the present, Clark locks the door of his house, and he starts checking his house from inside. He follows some sounds and goes to his wife, but now she is not in the room. Those demonic people are roaming here and there in the whole house. Finally, Clark meets Eileen, who is feeding milk to Jade. Eileen is now in the possession of the demon, and Clark takes her out of the room. But Eileen stops Clark and says, "I am pregnant, and I am also getting scared." Clark says, "You cannot get pregnant because I am incapable of that." But Iron has to do it with his mother. Clark was trying to make his wife understand when Loretta's zombified brother caught hold of Clark and started strangling him. Some other people make Jed and Eileen unconscious and take them with them, and in the end, Clark is also made unconscious by hitting him on the head. Those demonic people brought Clark's family to the jungle. Clark's body is revealed to be tied up, and Jade is performing a demonic ritual in front of him. She had put Loretta's body in a bathtub, and the rest of the demonic people were chanting mantras, and Eileen was lying unconscious near the bathtub. Then Lucky, a policeman, arrives there, and he unties Clark's hands and legs. But then, due to a mantra, the policeman's head explodes. Seeing this, Clark gets scared. His eyes remain wide open with surprise, but he runs to save his wife, who was chanting mantras at him. But now Jet does some more demonic acts, and due to Jade's mantra, the heads of other people standing there also burst, and only Clark survives. At that moment, Clark shot Loretta's body and took Eileen with him, but at a point, a demon boy shoots him in the neck and Clark slowly dies. Eileen is unable to see her dead husband because Jade takes her with her, and on the way, Eileen notices a strange tattoo on her stomach. Jade gives Eileen the keys to the police car, and on the way, Eileen asks where Clark is, but she does not get an answer, from which Eileen understands that something terrible has happened. They leave that place, and this is how the movie ends.
So, how was the movie? I hope you guys like it. Who was your favorite character from this movie? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button.